is God didn't need to express himself at all. He didn't need to. He's God. He didn't need to express himself. He did everything he did, and he could just let it be at that. He didn't need to express himself to any other being at all. And that was a big step, Bart says. It was a big step when he expressed himself, when he decided he will express himself to others. It was a big step of love. He determined he will give himself in that sense to other people. Let them in on the wonderful mystery, And of course then he brings out, that of all things, he chose himself to become one of the little creatures that he had made. He determined to be a human being. And of course, Bart points out that really it was long before the foundation of the world that he did that, really. Jesus it's strange to think of it, but Jesus is eternally the Son of Man. It comes out, you remember, and when he comes and with his holy angels with him, he will sit before the nations, and it doesn't say when Christ comes, but when the Son of Man comes. And so the Son of Man is obviously in glory and obviously exists beyond the finite world that we know. And so he is eternal. And so, I know, it's crazy, but Jesus is eternally human. He's divine, but he's eternally also human. He is divine and human, eternally. And of course it explains a lot of things, because he comes out with that remarkable saying, that it would be enough to start any of your websites. He says, before Abraham was, I am. Because as an English teacher, I feel the ungrammatical creature that he is, That can't be. It's before Abraham was, I was. But it's before Abraham was, I am. Saying, of course, I am eternally. Both in the past and in the present and in the future, I am. And so Jesus is humanity. Jesus is humanity. God made Jesus human long before he made the first person. And that's, of course, part of the meaning that you are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus. Because Jesus is the human. You're just created as part of his humanity. And so we are part of him right from the beginning, which is what he says, I in you and you in me. He says, abide in me, stay in me. That's where you are, that's your home. You're in me. We are human together. And because of my divinity, you can be divine also, in the sense that you're part of me. So it's a massive step, when Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. He's in a different league from Muhammad. He's in a different league from Buddha. He's in a different league from any other human religious leader. And that's why it's in a way silly, all this talk, about, oh, well, he's a great religious leader, maybe the greatest. He's not. He's far beyond a great religious leader. Muhammad can't say before Abraham was, I am, So Jesus is the first human being and is forever humanity. and we were made inside him. And it was so that God could be seen as he really is, that he enabled his Son to become man, and then to show himself to all of us who had been made inside him. And that's why there's that verse, all things work together for good. And the good is that they may be conformed to the image of his Son, so that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. And you and I are here so that we would be his brethren. I mean, I feel a bit the same as you, dare I call Jesus my brother, but the Bible actually does say that he may be the firstborn among many brethren. And you and I were born to be, my tongue even pauses, but to be his brothers and sisters. We were born to be his brothers and sisters, and we are made part of him. That's really, you must admit, we have devalued it. We've talked about the body of Christ, and the members of the body, and some of the members, will be speakers in foreign tongues, and some will be healers, and some will be miracle workers, and some will be prayers, and some will have this gift and that gift, and there we are, little silly pygmies that we are, talking about the members of Christ's body, and all the time we're putting it in terms of being members of a rugby club, or members of a political society, or in this case members of an ecclesiastical group or a church, and we have certain responsibilities as members, you're a great elder, I'm a great pastor, you're a great speaker in foreign tongues, you're a singer, and we talk, and we're talking about that, This thing is here to hold these glasses, That's why it's a member of my body. It's not so. We're members of his body because we're part of him. We're a part of him. We're joined, as they say at the hip. We're joined. We're part of him. And that's who we are. We're not members of the corporate body of the church or the great Christendom, with our little functions, our little ecclesiastical functions. We are part of the Son of our dear Creator and Maker, our Father. And that's why each of us are here. And I would put it to you, because I just know it so well myself, and I don't think you're different from me. I don't think I'm particularly sinful or particularly stupid or dishonest, But I've often not thought of myself as that at all. Boy, it's cold, isn't it? Yeah, I feel cold. I feel cold. Boy, I feel hungry. Well, I don't like the atmosphere in this room. I don't think. What does he feel? I don't feel that. I don't feel. What does he feel? I feel. How do I feel? How do I feel? Boy, oh, this day, I have this to do and that to do and this to do. And that will be an awkward experience, that's coming up. And I have to get this stuff done before, and that's all before I go to bed at night. How does he think about this day? Don't ask me. I don't know. That's up to him. He probably has a lot of angels to see or planets to move around. But it's not reality, you know. We're living in an imaginary world. But everything is self-related, isn't it? I mean, it's everything self, me. It's always, how do I feel? What would I like to do today? What is the future like for me? What have I to achieve by the end of this day? That's one reason why, and I speak as a maniac, but that's one thing that concerns me in a way. I think it is very good to be organized. It's very good to be enthusiastic about our business. And it's very good to be serious about your job. But there's a tricky line there where it runs you, where you become an automaton or a servant of that business or that job. And it's all, oh, you're right. Everybody respects you. Everybody thinks that's wonderful. It's wonderful to be so given to your business. It's so wonderful to be so efficient at your business. It's so wonderful to be concerned about it. He was never so concerned, you know, about his own responsibilities. He seemed to have time for everybody but himself. He seemed to be occupied with what his Father wanted him to do. And that's why we were created inside him. We were created inside him to live like him? No. So that he could live through us. That's it. That's the final deliverance from self. That's the final elevation into fellowship with God. When your preoccupation is with him and what he wants done, and then he used to call it, I got mixed up, you know, in the early days through trying to help a blind guy in London. And I traced him, I think I told you about it, I traced him eventually to a place maybe in North London, but the dear lady, you know, was a Jewess, and she ran this home for ex-prisoners, you know. And that's where I found him. And I think that gradually I began to see that I'm here not to do what I think should be done, but I'm here to do things for other people and to live for other people. And she, of course, would say, I'd come across her in the back kitchen, you know, making the breakfast, and there she is with the knife, you know, and the butter and buttering the bread, you know. And I think, why do you do it so slowly? And she says, you can butter bread, or you can butter it with love, you know. And she did it for the ex-prisoners with that kind of spirit. But it's that, you know, where Jesus himself begins to live through you, and he begins to express himself through you and you begin to be used to transmit him to other people. And they begin to be conscious of a life and a being that is higher than what they themselves are. But we're here, so that he can live in us, and so that he can live through us and be what he wants to be. And that's why you are, and you're unique. I agree with you. I agree with you because I think the same about myself. You're not so unique, there's nothing so wonderful about you. I'm with you. And there's nothing so wonderful about me. But the fact is, the wretched physicists say, yes, there is. There's nobody else like you. There's no one else like you. You are a unique expression of Jesus, the Son of the Maker of the universe. You're a unique expression of him. If you cease to exist, there's a part of him that will not be expressed in the way he had planned. And that's what you are and I am. So, incarnation, this is our incarnation. Christmas Day is our birth. It's our incarnation because we are a new expression of Christ that he has put on this earth so that others can see him and touch him and can get to know his Father. And that's why you're here and why I'm here. So really, it's a very noble position we have, And it's a very elevated task we have. That we would be conformed to the image of him in whom we have been made. And isn't that the wonderful thing about it? That we've been made in him. So in a way, it's natural. It's natural to be like him. When our eyes are on him, it comes naturally. And it's just the way we are. So I've often thought, Christmas Day is really our birth into this world in the reality in which we have been made, which is him himself. And so, Lord, are you cold today? Lord, are you cold today? Or I could say to my sisters here, is the air conditioning all right for you? That's probably why, finally, what does it matter? What does it matter? I know we have to be responsible, but what does it matter about all those things? It's rather, Lord, what are your plans today in me? What are your plans? What would you want to do? And then I think things begin to become clear.